Hey, what's up everyone? This video is just a quick chat with Ben because believe it or not, Ben, aka Cartesian Caramel, made a spontaneous trip to the UK. So obviously I went to visit him, showed him around London, and if you don't know who Ben is, if you haven't been around for a while, he contributed a lot of visual effects work to the new Sonic film, largely using Blender of course, and is now contributing to the Blender core codebase by providing the new camera info and instance bounds nodes for geometry nodes. Although a lot of you will be familiar with him from his live streams on his own YouTube channel, and all of the cool effects and experiments he puts out on social media. So enjoy.
All right, hi everyone. I'm here in my studio.
Hello there.
And he's just judging my startup file.
I am seriously impressed. I need out my game. Yeah.
And if I can fit in, this place is designed for like one person. Squeeze you a little bit.
Yes, just a little, get the framing right and all that. Get the plant and the green screen in the background. Perfect.
Yeah, the fake.
But yes, I guess we could do a little interview.
It's like a little podcast. It's like a midpoint.
Oh yeah, a little mini Blender nest back in the day.
I don't know what to talk about. What advice would you give to...
What advice? When you see opportunities, take them. I guess a little bit of life stuff for me right now. Spontaneity is good. 2 weeks ago or 2.5 weeks ago, I wasn't thinking about going to London. Then all of a sudden, I was just talking with Curtis in a chat, and I was like, I really should go to London. Let's check the flights. Oh yeah, Wednesday seems to be rather cheap. Let's check the hotels. That seems to work. And then all of a sudden, I'm here. Now, hotels were a little bit of a pain to get right, so make sure you get a good hotel. Make sure you look through that, because the current one that I have is 3 stars. You get what you pay for and all that. The next one I have booked tomorrow, actually. But yeah, hotels. Make sure those are good in a nice area and all that. In that case, spontaneity is not the best idea, but spontaneity can be very nice, like with just buying little trinkets and stuff like that. And by the way, just a little side note, because I've been fidgeting a little bit. This is the snail inside of Curtis's ear that was from his MRI scan.
Yeah, MRI.
That I chucked into Blender with a little slice assembler and then volume to mesh. Yeah, it was that.
Yeah.
And then 3D printed, which it looks quite nice as you focus probably won't.
Yeah, it's PLA and PVA, and it worked quite well. I mean, it takes a little while to print, but yeah.
And we're both in black shirts as well. I got my my nice V-neck on.
Yeah, I know it's like some kind of weird toxic masculinity thing to like only wear like black and other stuff. But it was just quite funny because we were walking around London and we were like, oh wait, we're both wearing black. So yeah, Ben wanted to be spontaneous with like traveling to a new place because he's never left the US.
No.
And if he's gonna do like the Blender conference at any point, if he ever wants to, then this is good practice.
Yeah.
I'm not like too fond of traveling nowadays anyway. But what would you say is a highlight so far?
Okay. There have been so many highlights. Like, it is amazing that it's gone as well as it did. The flight from the US to Ireland, because I had a layover there, that was incredible just because, like, seeing above the cloud. Oh, actually, no, that was more the Ireland to London. But at night, seeing the stars, like, below the usual horizon line with no light pollution was an absolutely surreal experience. And I had the whole road to myself, so I could full on lay down. Not sure if that's allowed, but
no one's gonna stop you.
Yeah, no one stopped me. But that was great. Very lucky in that regard. Going from Ireland to London, short flight, about an hour and a half, I think. That was incredible just because it was just becoming morning as we were on the plane, going up through the clouds with the silver linings everywhere and just the layers of clouds. It was an ocean of clouds. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But that was one of the highlights. Hammersmith was amazing. All the museums were fantastic. The design museum, the V&A. That, I think that one was my favorite. Though the British Museum did had some excellent pottery, and the lighting there was fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
We took a lot of pictures of like the exhibition, especially the China section with all the plates. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, so many highlights. The only, well, I guess low part is that for those Americans thinking about traveling to London, do some walking beforehand. I did some to kind of train myself, and I still partly, like, not sprained, but like stretched a tendon in my foot, which only one of them, which was slightly painful with every step for the past 2 days or so. You know, it didn't ruin the trip, but it did put a slight. It made me pace myself because I walked 6 miles in a day, which that'll do it to you. From Hammersmith to Waterloo. It took the tube for I think a kilometer, just because my foot was hurting a lot. But that was an amazing day. Going to Kyoto Garden, Hyde Park, Buckingham Palace, Big Ben, Westminster, London Eye, and a very nice pizza shop.
There's always a bigger Ben.
There's always a bigger Ben. Yep, that's what I've learned. And also a little Sonic movie thing. That's where Knuckles jumped off. That was.
Oh, and we saw adverts for Flow as well.
As well, yeah, in the tube, which was quite nice.
Yeah.
Yes, it is playing in theaters. So if I have a extra bit of time, which we'll see if I have that, I might go and see Flow in theaters. Which that would be cool. That would be quite cool.
I wanted to do something nice for Ben yesterday as well. We did the Harrods lunch thing.
Yes, that place. Oh, high class. I'm not used to that.
I took him to a slightly nicer part. So there's like a food hall in Harrods. I don't know if this will go out and if anyone knows the area, but we've got some nice lunch there. And I walked him to Hyde Park and we sat down. It was very busy. They had like, swans and ducks and stuff. And we just sat and like watched the lake and then ate lunch there.
Very nice. That was London, you know?
Yeah.
Proper London.
Yeah, I tried to show him that, people go to the tourist. I mean, it's the same everywhere. The tourist areas are not the real place.
Yeah. And then over here going to the pub. that was very nice. Very nice breakfast.
Yeah, I took him down to a local unspecified town that does not exist. And we got served by someone. It was very quiet in there, served by a lovely person. I let Ben do the payment, teaching him how it works. For that one,
I paid. Funny. I accidentally said, "Oh, here it is in dollars," and I had to correct myself and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm a tourist."
Yeah, but the server found it cute, I think.
Yeah, that was. Yeah. It was quite nice there. We got some nice local art from a certain place. We would show you, but that might.
You might give it away.
Yeah. But yeah, again, going on vacation, I would recommend it. I've been here for almost a week, which it can be a little bit pricey and all that, but I would recommend it. It is better with people just because, like, I guess it's more of a insurance policy in a sense. If you screw up, someone else is there and you can handle it a bit better. But going alone, if you know what you're doing, which I'm not saying I do, but it was manageable. It was quite manageable. Like, going on the flights, the transportation, especially with the tube, was a lot more straightforward than I assumed at first glance. I still want to go on the Elizabeth line because that one's the newest, and I want to see the newest version of the tube. The older versions of the tube, it can be a bit loud, like Curtis's watch.
Yeah, we had like a kind of decibel meter on my watch.
I'm still doing a few burps from the wine. I've had some fancy wine, and
I've given him the full
experience, which I'm not used to this level of fancy, shall we say.
I'm not super fan. I don't know how convincing that'll be. But, Ben hasn't been outside of America, so he comes over to the UK. I wanted to give him a little taste of things. Yeah. So it's
a little taste of things, the fine wines and the nice pints from the pub.
Yeah.
All that stuff. I feel like I've gotten the full experience. Again, being inside of London, my hotel is kind of on the outskirts, which is an experience all in itself. Central London, I was just so incredibly impressed with the scale of everything. It was like 3 times as big as I would expect from the photos, just with the way the architecture is laid out and all that. It is a proper fancy city. And then here in the unspecified town, it's much slower and much calmer. The air is a little, it's fresher, not as much smog and such, which I'm more used to. Where in my location of the woods in the U.S., there is a lot of forests, so our air is quite clean. So coming to London, it's just like, oh, yep, that smells like petroleum exhaust and all that fun stuff. But yeah, that's basically been my trip. I would recommend it. Like, even if you don't want to go inside of London, like the parts that are more on the outskirts or even in the countryside, I would say it is a fun experience for you Americans out there who haven't been outside of the US.
On the train journey from London down to unspecified town, Ben was just there the whole time with his like camera pointing out the window.
Occasionally, I'm trying to be a good tourist. Just go like, okay, put it back in my pocket.
It was perfect timing. It's that point in like spring where like
Perfect timing, yeah.
the wildflower fields are like blooming, so as the trains are going through
A
them.
whole field of yellow. Again, I have no idea how I've lucked out this good with all this, but it worked out amazingly. I am so happy about all that. It worked out so incredibly. Fidgeting again. I'm not usually a fidgeter, but that's only started in the past like 2 weeks or so. Yeah.
Everything about this is so surreal that first of all you're here right now and you're playing with my inner ear.
That I meshed using a setup that I made with geometry nodes.
So weird.
Over a year ago at this point. Again, it's so surreal. Because if right now it feels like this space is like I could just walk across the street and it would be my apartment back in the U.S.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like I'm over 2,000 miles away, but that's just it. Again, modern flights and transportation, absolutely incredible. So yeah, Amsterdam is always an option if I go to the Blend conference. That's still undecided. It depends on how tired I am from the journeys and how much my bank is yelling at me, which probably won't be too bad. But yeah, we gotta do some Gumroad stuff in the future. Traveling. If you feel like you should, you should. If you can financially afford it within reason, don't beat yourself up over it. Again, just getting out of your apartment and doing just a little bit of traveling. It's so nice.
I did all my traveling young with my family, so I'm kind of like burnt out on it. But I'm perfectly happy to like show people around.
When I was younger, everything was like within, I'd say 5 hours. Well, no, we've done some like one multi-day trip, but going to a totally different land is a different experience, and I'm getting an appetite for it.
What about stereotypes? Like, you would have had some kind of image in your mind of what the UK was like before going.
I think most of my stereotypes, oddly enough, are based on you, just because I know you quite well and all that. So I guess it's not stereotyping like everyone's like this, but it's like, okay, I have a baseline for this. And there's such a variety of people in London because it is a very like touristy place apparently. But I'd say the most stereotypes in that one nerd shop that you took me to.
The Forbidden Planet.
Oh yeah. We went there and it's a little bit out of I'm not that much of a nerd, if I'm being honest. Not to that degree. I've never bought a Funko Pop or any comic-related material whatsoever. Yeah. But there was quite a population of stereotype nerds, which I was like,
You know, that's part of the reason why I took Ben in that shop, because I thought, in a kind of meta way, it's kind of entertaining just seeing that those people exist. So
yeah,
not to throw shame, but it's very much like, greasy boyfriends and girlfriends talking about Doctor Who and that kind of thing. And I love Doctor Who, by the way.
The Doctor Who comment.
Yeah, but it's just we were just kind of walking around. I'm like, hey, this is part of the cultural adventure of London.
Yeah. Which Soho was fantastic, even though it was extremely busy. Yeah. Like there was that one, I think it was the Butterfly Museum with all the screens and stuff. We got to just get into like the entrance part, but we couldn't go in just because it was a sea of people. Like at Big Ben, when I went there solo, that's absolute sea of people everywhere. Which, if you're going solo, I feel like it's a bit easier to go through crowd solo just because you can go anywhere and you're not tracking someone else, because that could be a little bit stressful at times.
It's a skill you learn in the big cities.
Yeah, another one, the wine burps again.
Yeah, it's because when you talk so much, it rolls you up as well.
Yes.
I'm giving him the Europe experience. A bunch of Europeans watching.
And
it's American. That's Russian. We're doing that. That's a bad time.
The proper British experience.
Yeah.
What accent was that? Oh my god. I've made a point to not try to fake a British accent because people will see right through it, and they'll you don't want to deceive people a fair bit. You want to give hey, I'm a tourist, please treat me like a tourist, and that everything goes smoother in that way. Do I mention the wine bit?
Which bit? What, the pour?
Yes.
So all right, so Ben's
the most okay.
Do you want to do a little bit, or do you want to do it?
I guess you go, and then I'll tell my perspective.
I had a safety net. So obviously Ben, he's not really.
I'm not the fanciest person. Again, I don't drink wine all too often. I drink alcoholic beverages once in a blue moon, just because it's just
I'm not an alcoholic, by the way. But here in Europe, we have a bit of a different culture of alcohol, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people drink and all that. So we got wine laying about and whatever. And so I wanted Ben. Well, Ben wanted to try. I didn't force anything on him. He wanted to try like red wine. He asked specifically. So I did. He tried a bit of white wine. Be like, there's a type called Dark Horse that I like, and so he wanted to try a bit of red wine as like a comparison. And we had some laying around, so I kind of opened it and I was like, no, this has gone bad. I'm not going to let you drink this because you're going to get on a flight like in a couple of days, and I'm not going to let you get sick. So I was like, okay, that's bad. We need to pour it away. But the idea of pouring away wine was like weird for you, was it?
It was like he offered the bottle to me to pour because I think he knew it would be quite a surreal experience.
Yeah, this would be like
me.
a fun thing for you to do.
Yes, like
Pour
the
it
most probably one of the most expensive things I've dumped into a sink or something like that. Do you call that something different over here?
No,
okay.
yeah.
So I was just pouring this, I'm assuming, somewhat expensive wine down the drain. I had a moment. I was just like, this is above my level. Just pouring this fancy wine, smelling the wine as it's going. It was just like a bit much for me.
I was trying to explain to him that it's gone bad. Like no one can drink it.
I need to like. My brain's just like, oh, this is a lot of money. You're just pouring down a sink.
But realistically, it's not that
Yeah.
much money because wine can be cheap.
Yeah.
You know?
But that was just like, again,
It's just interesting culture shocks.
Yeah, a young lad from Connecticut. Again, the overspill era from New York. Just Connecticut's known for two things. Well, it's known for grapes and vineyards and stuff like that. Occasionally, that's what's on the state flag, and also just being the highway from New York to Boston. It's a very, let's say, boring. Like it has Yale, which has a lot of stuff going on, but just a little boy who would go and like cut down trees and stuff like that. Do a lot of like landscaping and stuff like that when I was young, and then just go into pouring wine in a fancy place and all that. It was a very surreal experience for me, but I am glad that I've got to do that at least once in my life. And then going to Harrods, being seeing the fancy chocolates and all that, and everything just being so
So I took
classy.
I took him there just to give him like the visual experience of like the spectrum of London because he was staying in a kind of like slightly outer area. I was like, okay, well, I'll take you into where all the pretentious rich people live, and then I'll show you around. So I took him around Harrods, and there's like a chocolatier area where they make all the chocolate for you, and you got all the people with like their expensive handbags that are probably made in China for like a $5 or something. So we got lunch there just for the sake of the experience of
Which
it.
that lunch was amazing.
It was really good.
Yeah,
Like,
and actually, it was it like £9 each for the?
yeah,
the
it wasn't too
things?
bad. It was like a full on like ramen meal thing.
Yeah, with
not
like
too bad.
beef, rice, all that stuff.
And the beef was high quality. It wasn't. Like,
It was, yeah.
cheap.
Like I was surprised. Like I would have thought that would cost like I don't know, like £16 each.
They could have overcharged for it, but they
Yeah.
didn't like too much, so not too bad.
Yeah.
And
And I've actually, in that chocolatier, I saw a photo of that online and modeled some like chocolates in a little like array stand set up before. And actually being there in person was quite surreal.
that's
I'm
funny.
not sure if I have a live stream of that.
So
up
what
or a
you'd
render.
seen it in like a reference.
Yes, I looked up like reference photos and I saw that and I'm like, I need to make like a little setup with that, like use geometry nodes to have like the arrays of colors going down with the instances.
See,
and all
that's surreal as well, like stepping into a reference.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
And then like Big Ben, in Sonic 3, the characters go to London. There's Big Ben and I didn't see Tower Bridge, which just because of
Yeah.
the way timing, Tower Bridge is actually fairly far.
We could have done it
Yeah.
if we were near the right line. But just based on where we ended up on one day, it would have taken about 45 minutes to get there.
Yeah,
And we were trying to
it's just a little out of the way. It's rather far down the river. Buckingham Palace. I think I might have seen the changing of the guard. The guard did change, but I'm not sure if that was at like the proper time. Got very lucky in that regard. And then, just all the parks, all the museums. The Design Museum was fantastic. Got to see Tim Burton's stop motion puppets. I forget if the night before it used concept art from Tim Burton, but I'm not sure if it was directed by Tim Burton. But I got to see the puppets from that, the old Batman movie, a couple of the old stop motion ones, which the puppets were, well, you can't see it on film. Okay, hold this. Like, they were about this size. Like, a good size, which I was quite surprised by. A bit bigger than I expected. But yeah, that was very interesting. Seeing something that you would see on film and then the physical prop, which I feel like if I'm being a little pessimistic with like the way the industry's going, we are losing quite a bit of that when things are all digital. Yeah.
When we, again, not to give too many details away, but when we were at the local area and we went to the artisan shop and we got the little things.
Yes.
I spoke to the lady there who was selling the stuff because it's kind of like an independently run shop. And I told her that we were digital 3D artists because they're running like a 2D art shop. I said, oh, it's really nice to see that there's some 2D art shops surviving and they're actually doing really well. So she asked us how our work was going and I said, yeah, it's going good. You know, there's some existential concerns about AI art. And she was like, oh, yeah. You know, just got to keep an eye on that stuff.
Yeah.
It was just fun, like chatting to random people like that.
Actually, do you all have like little like fairs every so often, where there's like a ton of stands with artisans and
yeah, I think there are, but not that I've taken part in, and
okay.
again, not that I can say without giving away.
True. Yep.
Yeah, but
I would recommend those because in my area, there's actually quite a few occasionally where it's just like a ton of like local artists that do like either resin painting or something like that, or even like wood burning and that make nice little trinkets. And I have a few in my apartment, which is quite nice. I would recommend all that. Quite good.
So if I'm yawning, I'm not bored. It's just the amount of walking we've done.
Yes, I did 6 miles of walking the day before I met up with Curtis, which that took a toll on my body, which I wouldn't entirely recommend. But yeah, London, in summary, I have quite enjoyed it. It has worked out surprisingly well. I've got to see like the outskirts of London, central London, and now the countryside, which is very, very nice.
Yeah, we tried to see if we could make it possible. And we could.
Yeah.
So we kind of fit Ben in coming down here so we could experience.
Have a pint at the pub.
Yeah.
Again, I am very American, so if anything I say is inaccurate to all the British people around here, I apologize. But it has been a very wonderful experience, very surreal in a sense, because in a sense, like, it still doesn't entirely feel real, because in my brain it's like London is this faraway land, and I just went on a plane for 6 hours, then the layover and then that one. So I think 8 hours of traveling in total to get here, and then it's just I'm here. Then taking the tube, I think that's the biggest thing that makes it feel easy, just because you just tap your card on the tube.
Yeah.
Be on there for an hour and then you're in.
Yeah, the contactless makes it really easy. Ben was really good at letting me know what was going on as well, because I get a bit anxious about people actually like being okay. So when he was traveling here, it was kind of overnight for me, and Ben would literally just go like Dublin and send, like London and send, like whenever he got somewhere, and I was like, aha.
Oh,
he is.
one other thing. This may be a useful tip for those traveling. Make sure your phone either has a secondary SIM card or an eSIM. Because my phone is the OnePlus 7T, which is the last phone that they made that did not have eSIM, which means that I had to physically swap out the SIM card with a local SIM that I got at Heathrow. And that's a bit inconvenient because I can't use my regular number and all that, though WhatsApp does make that a little bit easier on that front, and Discord. But yeah, check that, which probably I need to get a new phone when I get back. Yep.
So we don't actually have much time left until we need to send you back.
No. So I guess we'll wrap up the recording, which is at almost 50 minutes. So kind of like one of my live streams as well. So
I don't know if it'll be one thing or two things or but it is what it
edit
is.
it the way you want. Don't make me look stupid. No. Yeah. Hopefully that's not too difficult.
Yeah. Delete the video.
And I really hope, like, I've been talking away from the mic, but it should pick it up okay.
So it should pick us up. It does have quite like a shallow range.
But yes, I guess for a little bit. What's your usual outro? I guess I could try that out.
Thanks for watching, everyone. If you made it this far through the video, please put what emoji?
Oh, there's not anything caramel, is there?
No.
Thank you all for watching. Please put an emoji of your choice, preferably like caramel based, because I am Cartesian caramel, for those of you. Yeah, something candy related. And yeah, London has been a fantastic experience. I will probably travel more in the future. Don't know when. It all depends on how spent my body is, because another tip, I ate a lot more carbs and pasta than usual before I left, because I was like, my body's probably going to spend all that. And I think it's actually worked. Make sure you're not iron deficient and all that. But this has been a grand experience. It's been fantastic. And who knows, might do it again.
Just before we close this up, I just want to show you some.
Nice film camera here.
All right, so you know how we were in the Natural History Museum
Mm.
and we like rocks and stones and things.
Right. Ooh.
And you were looking at all the different types of pretty rocks and stones. Obviously, I've got a whole bunch. I will let you take any one of these back.
Ooh. Thank you very much.
And I'll also show you, this disintegrates a little bit. I can't remember the exact mineral, but because we're not allowed to hold any in the museum, I figured I'd let you have a little hold. I think it's a type of silicate, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, you can probably see like, oh, the detail.
Yeah.
Don't think you can see that on camera all too much, but the amount of details horizontally is fantastic. Yeah, no, you need to see these in person. So go to the Museum of Natural History. That's what's called, right?
Yeah.
In
Both.
that's in Kensington, right?
Yeah, South Kensington.
South Kensington. Go to there and you can see like so many minerals. It is incredible. Look at all that. My
Take a lot of
God.
pictures. If you hold it with like your kind of hand around it, sometimes you get like a weird feeling that it's sticking to you. I don't know how to describe it.
I can see a little bit of like
There is dust on it as well.
Yeah, dust on it.
It-
Oh yeah, I
it's
see.
a weird
I see
thing.
what you mean.
It's because it's also like really fine grain.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
Kind of like sandpaper in a sense.
Yeah, if you pick any one of those, you can take it back.
Yes. Oh, this one's kind of like oh, what's the palette called? The cappuccino one. I think either that one or this one. Maybe the teal. So many, like when we were in the shop at the museum, they have a lot of tumblestones, somewhat similar to this. I was just like, so many options, but none of them felt quite right. And then there were like cool, like no, I forget what shape it is, but paperweights and a cool thing. And I almost bought one of those, but that would have been very heavy to carry around in my bag and on the backpack and all that during the flight. Yeah. Yeah. So many options, which I will decide off camera. But yes, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.